My name is Ilana Zweschi, and I'd like to welcome you here to my studio in Seattle, Washington. I'll have to apologize in advance if there's a little bit of ambient noise. My studio is actually located in the industrial part of Seattle, and the building we're in is actually above a metal recycling company. So there's kind of all day, there's like some tinkling sounds and some loud bangs. And I've actually grown to love those sounds because they mean that my rent is affordable. So we can maybe appreciate it a little bit there. Hopefully it's not distracting. So I'm standing here next to my painting Toros, and it's part of the auction theme Cadencia, and that is actually a Spanish word that originates in bullfighting, and it's about a safe space that the bull can find in the ring, but has come to be a larger concept for a safe space in general, which I think is something that we can all relate to right now. And that relates perfectly to my painting in maybe a more literal way, because Toros is the Spanish word for bull. So I'll tell you a little bit about my process and when I make these paintings. I write algorithms that translate text into painterly actions, and the texts that I choose are actually very deliberate. So I'm looking for ones that hold this concept of being really influential and having the power to cause harm in the world. So I'm kind of tackling this concept, but the texts are something tangible that I can manipulate. And then the painting is something tangible that I can manipulate. So they're kind of compatible mediums. So the first way that I manipulate these texts is that I alphabetize them. So I'll go sentence by sentence, and I'll put all of the A's at the beginning, and then the B's and the C's, and so on, with the punctuation marks at the end. And then I've got this secondary form of the text, which has this really poetic act behind it, where it's all the same elements are there from the original version, but now it's become total nonsense, and it no longer has the power to cause any harm. So I kind of see a metaphor for that could be taking a gun and switching around its parts so that the mechanism can no longer fire. And in that way, or in both of those concepts, I am disarming the original harmful act of the text. And then after I have changed around the text, I actually use both forms of text to write an algorithm to make these paintings. So how I do that is that I'll take different aspects of the text, like is it a consonant or a vowel, a capital letter, lowercase, and then I'll associate it with painterly actions. So you can see one of these forms of the text that I used for this painting. So this is actually the one that has been alphabetized. And there's all of these marks on each one of the letters, and that's because each letter corresponds to one brushstroke. So after I complete the action of each letter, I'll mark it off with my brushstroke on the text. And so you can actually, even if you closely scrutinize the text, you can actually see some corresponding visual elements. And in this one, it's going from being lighter to darker. And so you can follow along and realize that the painting itself is getting from lighter to darker as well. And you might be able to actually find a letter connected to one of these brushstrokes in the painting. And so then when I've completed this process, I've actually got this secondary painting, which I call an algorithm byproduct. And then the last part that's important to know about this process is that the paintings all actually start with a representational drawing underneath of something that's organic. So it might be a figure or a landscape. And what that does is it gives the algorithm something organic to react to. So all the shapes that you see in this painting are actually not invented. They are found or discovered from the drawing that's underneath. And the drawing that is underneath this painting is actually of bulls, and that's how the painting got its name, Toros. And I'll just give you a little bit of background on me. When I was in college, I was an art major studying painting, but I also chose to be a math minor. And that wasn't because I was thinking I'd be a mathematician, but mostly because I just really loved math. And that is where I learned how to write an algorithm. But at the time, I never saw those two processes as being connected, the painting and the math. And it wasn't until much later that I realized that the separations that I had in my mind for those two things that I enjoyed were actually just a construct, and that I could combine them. And that was how I came to start making these paintings, by using this systematic way of thinking that comes naturally to me. So that's it from me. Thank you so much for your time and attention and consideration. And thank you for your support of artists in such a challenging time.